Okay.
Okay, all workshop council meetings will be audio and videotaped. They'll be shown on the Township Promotions Community Cable Channel, Channel 22 on Verizon Fios, and Cablevision Channel 77 on Verizon Fios. All right, roll call, please.
Mayor Napolitani?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Donlin?
Here.
Councilmember Achara?
Here.
Fisher?
Here.
Terry?
Here.
The notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act for this meeting have been satisfied, and a copy of the annual notice was sent to the Asbury Park Press and the Coaster, posted in Town Hall and filed in the office of the municipal clerk on December 8th, 2022. Let's start off with our items for discussion. Greg, go ahead, you're up.
Okay, good evening, everybody. First item, Joe Platt Park paving of Phase 3. That's on your agenda tonight to be awarded to the contractor. Next item is the speed bumps. Speed bumps were purchased, they're in. We're meeting tomorrow morning to determine the exact locations, and they'll be put in next week. There's going to be one on Westlake Avenue, one on Park Boulevard, and one on Bimble.
Oh, we did decide on Bimbler?
Pardon me?
I thought we ruled Bimbler out.
No, I think we ruled the layer out.
That for sure. I thought the folks over there didn't want it. That's cool. Okay. Park, Bimbler, and what was the third one? I'm sorry.
Park, Bimbler,
Lake?
and
Westlake.
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 Next item is the sidewalk crossing at the culvert on Whale Pond, where it's been submitted to DEP. We're waiting for their response. Next item is 1001 Wickapeco, the building there. We have a pre-construct, that was awarded at your last council meeting. We have a pre-construction meeting set for next Friday on that, so we'll get that going. Next item is the bulkhead on South Edgemere. That project the bulkhead is complete. It was completed about a week ago. And we're probably this June/July, we're gonna be fixing the street, because that has sunk about 3 or 4 inches on the curb, along the curb line. And then probably this fall, we'll get into the restoration of the landscaping on both sides of the wall.
Does Don know this, like the updated plan for planting and that sort of thing? Because I think he was hoping could be done this spring.
Yeah, well, we told them we're doing it in the fall because it wouldn't grow, but I'll reconfirm it with them.
Okay.
Because I gotta fix the road too before I do the landscaping, because it's just gonna end up killing it anyway.
Right.
Especially between the curb and the wall.
Okay. The way it's been done, will we be able to plant trees on the side at least? On either side?
No.
It'll all be
There's-
kind of like
it's
shrubs
pretty-
and.
It's pretty wide at both ends, just the middle is pretty narrow.
Okay.
But we'll just put some bush type things that get up, to cover the wall view anyway.
Okay.
But it's impossible to plant trees, they wouldn't have grown.
Okay.
Next thing is the permits for the dredging of the 3 ponds. We're working with DEP on that continues. 1515 Logan, we're waiting for a wetlands permit on that project. Next item was the stormwater ordinances. We talked about possibly changing the coverages. And what I would like to do for the next meeting in about a month, I'll come in and we'll maybe look at some recommended coverages for all the residential zones and business zones, and throughout the ordinance, because right now we're at 75%. We want to drop that.
Is that universal through all the zones?
Pretty much, yes.
Okay. So we
Greg,
would kind
what's,
of taper it or
oh.
decide based on zone what would be appropriate?
Yeah, residential, we're looking to probably go to 40%, down from 75, and the commercials I gotta look at, we're probably gonna be around 50% ultimately there.
Would it depend on, like Wayside versus Wanna, or, or would it be all over?
Yeah, we'll probably, I gotta look at it, because some of the smaller zones, we might have to bump it to 45 just because of the house sizes. So
Yeah, that's what I was
kinda
wondering.
gotta do an aerial study of how big houses are in most of these zones.
Yeah.
Just to make, because we don't wanna create a situation where everybody's in an instant variance.
Right.
Right, that we gotta look at too, for just a house. Everybody that has, 90% coverage on their lot, they're gonna be a variance for the future, no matter what we do.
Greg, what's the norm, what you see, lot coverage?
35 to 40% for
35,
residential. Yeah,
No,
for
but in
resi-
other towns?
Yeah,
in other
yeah,
towns.
that's where it's kind of coming from, yeah. And then you get,
75.
35 is pretty
75
heavy
is a
in
lot,
the
yeah.
larger residential zones. And, well, yeah, most residential zones are 35. Commercials are anything between 45 and 50.
Okay.
When you get to businesses and stuff. And then the only other thing I had on my list was we talked about the potential of putting a crosswalk on Sunset Avenue at Maple.
Yep.
That's where the Lollipop Pond Bridge is. My only concern, it's probably a nice location because it's not the dead middle between, Wickapeco and Logan, but it is close to the middle. But I just don't want to promote walking through there until we fix the Lollipop Pond Bridge that goes through there. But I don't know that putting a crosswalk would necessarily promote that, but
I don't think it would.
No,
I think it'd just be safe crossing to the stores, you know, right? That
Well,
little.
this is in the middle of the block. I think if you're
Oh,
gonna, you could
okay.
really walk to both ends and get to the, cross at the lights down at both ends would be the safest thing to do.
Yeah.
Because usually mid-block is a little more dangerous because people are having some speed going at that point.
So where specifically would you want to put it?
One side of Maple and Sunset. That's if you guys want to put it. I mean, there was somebody, I guess there's some residents questioning that. So what I'll do next
Well,
time, I'll
they-
bring a map in and show you the location. I'll look and see which the best corner it is.
Once that came up, then the next one said the next, to your point, they wanted one on each crosswalk. And Let's,
Yeah, you
Can't
don't
have
want
it all.
too many, because then
Right.
when you get sign pollution, then everybody starts ignoring the signs.
Right.
And we're gonna get somebody run over.
Agreed.
Greg, last time Don Stein brought up Chestnut. There was I believe a bridge over there that he was seeing if we were gonna improve it, or, I don't think you definitely weren't at the meeting, but that came up as well.
It was the 7 o'clock portion.
A bridge on Chestnut.
I think it goes, the footbridge that goes over the lake.
I think that's Maple.
Okay, that's,
That goes across the dam on the
Right.
east side of Lollipop
right,
Pond.
right, 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 right.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
Maple. That's why I think it's a.
Oh, he called it
Makes sense.
Why did he call it Chestnut? So it is Maple.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah, I have Chestnut in my notes.
right,
For
yeah.
some reason, I'm not getting it.
okay.
But
So-
I'll double check that. But
Great.
it's where the crossing would make the most sense, because then when we do fix that, we can bring people straight across the pond. Then they wouldn't have to walk east or west to get across the pond. They could go through that crosswalk and across that bridge crossing.
And we're waiting for DEP approval on that other, not crosswalk, but that little,
Walkway on Whale Pond?
yeah,
Yeah, that's been submitted.
that's been submitted. How long do you think that'll take?
We asked them, they're a little slow. I said it might take 6 weeks for them to get the review.
All right, so 6 weeks,
Yeah, it's not too bad.
yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't have anything else.
Just on 1515 Logan, I think I sent you the resolution compliance.
Yes.
Okay, so
We're
you're,
working on that, yeah.
you're on that, and we don't have to do anything, right?
No.
Okay,
We'll
that's our
probably
job.
wait
We
till
like
get
that.
the
That's good.
DEP
Do nothing.
just
Hold on, I'm
in
writing
case.
this down. Do nothing.
Do nothing.
I got it. It's in here.
Yeah, before we complete all that, we'll wait for the DEP permit, just in case they want to tweak the plan a little bit, so we only do one final revision. That's all I had.
Any other questions for Greg while we're here? Go ahead, Rob. He's probably got 40.
no, I told him, we're down to 11. And he probably covered 7. Ocean Glades?
Ocean Glades. That's a topic that we probably could talk about maybe in closed,
Yeah, because it's gonna be a
Enough
legal
said.
shared service agreement.
Got it.
because it's kind of went one way, and I think in the last 2 weeks, it's gone a different direction.
Got it.
now.
Negotiations.
Yes.
Any movement on the storm, and if you said it and I missed it, I apologize. Stormwater management at Seaview?
Stormwater management at Seaview.
That's a grant that we
Right.
got, but that's Don
Don.
Brockle,
Right.
and that's, I don't know.
No.
Yeah,
Long-term.
long term.
Yeah,
I
that
thought there was a
actually-
meeting coming.
I do know about that because we are the DLA commission here, but we're putting a detention basin on the south side of the
Correct.
loop road.
Yeah,
But you threw me for a loop because I was thinking, what was I doing? But that, yeah, my office is actually handling it.
got it. Striping?
Striping is, that's the line you remember trying to figure out line items?
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, that's
we-
one of them.
Yeah,
Okay.
we know we have enough money to do the original, but the extra 60,000 I was asking to do the whole network we talked about, down Corley's and all that. I just gotta get with Ricky and see if that's in that budget.
That's not just bike lanes, that's all striping. You met with OT, police, and you got the suggestion?
Yeah, a lot of that is in that extra money that Ricky, if it's in the budget. So that I don't know until I get that answer from him.
Hold, please.
Nobody moved.
What are you, Rain?
Contact center person.
Isn't that right?
I sell that.
Hold, please.
I know I keep, so 25 road so the bike trail for Roller and Rose, 2025 road program? I typed- that's a-
2022.
Not two,
That's gonna be done in
24.
June.
22 road program?
It's either the 21 or 22. We made a change order and added it into it.
Oh,
We have Marion Road and the Roller Road. Half of Marion's gonna get paid because the utility company tore the other half up.
okay.
So the residents over there were a little worked up, so we told them I had enough money to do the other half. We're doing that in June, and Roller Road will be done in June, the bike path. been a long time coming, but it's gotten to the point where we can do it now.
And the bike lane in Monmouth is part of the striping.
Yes. That was the base amount of striping. We were definitely doing the striping on
Right.
Monmouth. It's just all the other stuff.
Right. Any date on the traffic study for the crosswalk at Monmouth and South Lincoln?
No, they just said this summer. And I'll try to get in touch with him again, but he's probably not gonna do that till July or August.
Dredging, you did that. Crosswalks at Poplar and Kenneth?
Those are part of the road program, which will be starting in June. We told them that's one of the first things we needed done. The sidewalk along Wickapeco and those crosswalks were some of the top items we needed done first.
That's it, but you just triggered something else that I forgot. I reserve the right to come back.
I had a question about Delta Drive. Is that on the agenda for paving soon? No, okay.
I don't know about soon. It's not on this year's
Not
program
this year,
that we just
okay.
awarded. But we got the 23 coming up, so.
Okay.
But I'll look at
I
it.
just marked that.
Anybody else for Craig? Go ahead, Ken.
The topic on the ordinance that I guess we're going to amend, was there a discussion about amending an ordinance?
Yeah, well, I was gonna bring in some, I wasn't gonna be to the ordinance level yet. I wanted to talk about the coverages first.
Okay.
But that will promote us to do an ordinance if everybody's in agreement with the coverages we're talking about. We're gonna have to change the land use ordinance, which is the planning board ordinances. Part of land use ordinance. It's that they have their zoning ordinances for each zone in town,
Mhm.
and we're looking at changing the coverage in all those zones.
Are you talking about the impervious surface
The one
coverage?
that came up yesterday or today?
Oh, that's separate.
Okay.
I think we just need more discussion, right, Rob? You wanted to hold that
I have two
ordinance?
different things. You pulled one so that we could have discussion, but then there's another one that's
Okay.
out there that
Yeah,
an
like-
architect had a question on
I think that's
and
what
wanted
she's
us to
asking
relook
about.
at it.
Oh,
That's
that must be the gable one,
Oh.
the 2.5 story,
It definitely had to do with 3 stories and coverage.
yes,
There was a,
this one.
whatever the last change to the ordinance, didn't have a definition of gable.
Oh, that's a land use.
Okay.
Yeah, that wouldn't be me really. It's a Ron Kirk,
Ron,
would be a planning
okay.
issue, yeah.
It needs to be, it
The
needs to be an
definition is-
amendment.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm sorry to ask about the bike lanes again, it's just I've gotten a few phone calls. Can you remind me of the schedule for the bike lanes?
They'll be done this summer.
Okay?
When in the summer, I don't know. It's really, I gotta break the funding loose. I know it's been approved, it's just, I gotta wait till I get authorization from Ricky. And once that gets done, we'll probably do them, I would say, end of June, early July.
And then if individuals wanted to add more, that would be another process to add additional additional locations for these bike lanes?
Yeah, well, they wouldn't be able to do it because they would need, it's, essentially township roads. They're not allowed to paint the roads like we are.
No, I meant to put in a request to
Oh,
have
yeah,
certain roads.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
So our big one is being done this summer,
Right.
and then anything supplement to that would be a new ask.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
Anyone else? March?
Just,
God
He
bless you.
did.
Oh, no.
Thank you, Greg.
Yeah.
oh, God.
Greg, are you gonna stick around for
That's
that
Quarantine.
Glades? Do we need
Probably.
Greg or no?
Bless you.
For Ocean Glades?
Is David
Oh,
in?
You,
I'm sticking around.
I guess you're sticking around.
Allergies, Rob?
Okay.
Allergies?
Dave, any
Sure.
township matters?
Are you sick too?
No.
I bet you do.
Let's talk deer.
All right.
I have something for a report, but nothing for Greg.
Dave.
Okay.
So the consultant is asking, although we assessed JPP and Wells Park, we do want to do a township-wide program. Because if not, he's saying it's going to be ineffective.
Why wouldn't we do a township?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to make the assumption. I want to get clear direction from the council.
Dave,
Why?
can we, because this was brought up these last 8 weeks.
Understood.
Thank you.
So can we set up a meeting, maybe myself and the mayor from Tinton Falls, Eatontown, potentially West Long Branch, to see what we can do globally, because if we work on this issue over here in Ocean Township, and nobody else is doing anything, it may still be ineffective.
Exactly.
So,
Agreed.
Exactly.
Because they'll just start crossing borders.
Yeah.
yep, yeah, because they don't know the borders, they don't know to stay in Ocean.
Yep.
So if we could do that, I think that we can find out what their thought process is. Regardless, the Township of Ocean has to do something. But I'd like to see if they're willing to jump on board
You
and
want
also.
all bordering towns?
I think we need to be, I think even Neptune
I
at
was
this
just
point.
about to say that's the only one you left out, so.
Deal has a bunch of them running around also.
And, yeah, and Allenhurst.
Right.
Yeah.
So we may want to set up a,
Interlaken.
yeah,
Okay.
good with that? Cool.
Sounds good.
Yeah, but the.
And
Can you
then
include me in
Deal
that
to your
too?
own
What's that?
Can you include me in that meeting?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good.
And then the second question, he wants to know how much of the population are you looking to control? 30%, 50%? And I'm just throwing percentages out
We're,
there.
we're over by 10 times. I'm doing the math.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be wise.
No, 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 no.
We're over by 10 times.
Right.
Mhm.
So what would be an acceptable number?
I mean, I think in like the ideal ecosystem, it would be down to that one, but I don't know realistically how feasible that is in this type of environment. If it's, I think there's only a few places in New Jersey who are at that level.
At the acceptable level.
Correct. So there might be, we don't have to, I don't think it's necessarily 10 times, but again, I don't even know how to answer this question because I'm not a wildlife expert,
I mean, do we say 50 and see what he comes back with?
I can do that, but I can also drill down on it a little better and ask him what's the standard for what we're looking at.
Yeah, for this type of
Okay.
environment, like the suburban environment, we're not, yeah,
Okay. That's all for deer for now.
okay.
Till the next episode.
Thank you, dear.
Councilman and Chair, we talked about 10 evergreen trees going into 317 Belmont Avenue. Did that get discussed? Because I was on the phone, so.
It did not.
Okay.
You want me to do
Well,
it?
yeah, you went to the door, so.
I heard about this, and I spoke with the woman who brought up this up
Mhm.
at the Deal Lake Watershed Alliance, so I think if we loop in our tree expert,
Mhm.
Might be two different things.
Oh.
Talking about the park?
no, right in front of, it's in Colonial Terrace.
Yeah.
Is this what you're talking about?
Yeah, keep going though. There's two requests.
At the
One for
end of
park
the street.
across from the development in Neptune.
Mhm.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right, we're talking about the same one.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And it's township property?
No,
It's not township property, okay.
no, this is personal. So this is a house,
All right, so this is different.
this was a house this was property that we were asked to purchase to benefit the residents in Colonial Terrace because it would have prevented any development and blocked the view of the Neptune, the 35 Circle development. We opted, I believe this is the reason, we opted not to buy it due to the amount of oil tanks that were associated with it, because there used to be a gas station, and so we opted not to. Nobody thought it could be built on. Nobody thought they would be able to be building on it. Apparently, we let it, I shouldn't say we let it happen, it was able to be done, somebody did buy it, there's a house going up there, and the neighbor who's abuts that property put in evergreens to block it. We discussed compensating him for that because we could have purchased the land and prevented it from happening, so we're kind of getting off a little easy. I could see it opening a little bit of a can of worms, but we're looking for places to put trees. This will help block that house, which in turn will also help block that view from, not many, but other houses. So I spoke to the guy because the wife didn't want anything to do with me. But that was one of my first ones. Get off this property. Were you there?
No.
That
Oh,
was
yeah,
yesterday.
over
That was
there,
the first
yeah.
one.
I was down the block.
Yeah. turned out very nice, conversation ended well. So that's where we're at.
But they already planted the trees?
Yes, so it was.
So we're not
basic-
using our trees?
We wouldn't use our trees, but we would use our money.
From what money? From the shade tree?
Correct.
I think you'd have to talk to the shade tree about that one.
Oh, we absolutely do.
You did?
No, we do.
Oh, you do,
Did
yeah.
not, yeah.
So it's
And-
not really,
And counselor has brought new information that they need to certify anything that we do with the shade tree one.
No, that's just for the budget. But in terms of
Oh.
their spending,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that might be, they might have control over their entire spending.
yeah, so you'd have
I should
to.
look into that too.
Okay, so that was one. Can I bring the second one up?
Yeah,
The
please.
second one is what you probably heard, Margie, which is the park there.
Mhm.
They want to put 10 evergreens up.
It's called Triangle Park, right?
That's what they call it.
That's
I don't know if
it.
there's an official name for it, but that's what they call it.
And that's our
That's where I
land.
got it at.
That's
what-
that's
It's ours.
township land.
Township
Yes.
land, yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Yes, so they want 10 evergreens.
Yeah. Now that would come from shade
Shade
tree.
tree.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yep. And we'd have, let me, I'll send out an email.
Okay.
Can you tell me the exact location though? It's
In
called
Triangle Park.
Triangle Park.
Let's go with it for,
And the house is 317 Belmont Avenue, and then it's Triangle Park.
Colonial Town.
Can you call it?
I remember when they did that.
Okay. No.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay.
Earlier-
Thought you were serious.
Earlier meeting.
No. All right. Ready for the next one? Fire pit smoke.
you're on a roll, Dave. Look, you take a week
What?
off and you come back and you hit all the easy ones.
What is your pleasure? Mr. Snyder's looking for me to get back to him. Do we need to deliberate more? That's what I'm seeing on the faces.
Well, we've had legal opinions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We've had fire marshal opinions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm believing respectfully, neither of them want to try to make the current situation, I shouldn't say improve it, but tough to make it, tough to fix it, is what I'm.
Yeah.
I'm
I think the
paraphrasing.
request from last week, or when we last had our meeting, was, do we want to ban
Yep.
wood-burning fire pits and say gas fires outside are only allowed in Ocean Township? And I think that's gonna be tough because of I
So
think it's gonna
optics
be a tough
aside,
situation.
legally,
Well, I mean, I think it's more practically speaking, you have a whole bunch of people who have wood-burning fire pits.
Right.
So are you gonna say, okay, turn them in?
I mean, are there
And-
other towns in New Jersey that do that? I'm just,
Oh, I think when we talked to him, I thought he
There's
said
at
he was
least
gonna
one.
send us
yeah, he was gonna.
some information from other towns. I don't know if anyone received that. I know
I
I
have
did
not.
not. So
No,
let's,
I'm
Let me guess.
willing to bet there's like one.
Montclair, no.
Somewhere like
sent me what you-
Maplewood, or, you know.
He just sent me
It's my
what you
sister's town,
received
don't mess with it.
last meeting,
okay.
but does not have any citations of other towns.
Aside from that, I wonder if there's ways like we can educate the public on like low smoke, how to properly run a fire, in maybe like the
Throw it in our
newsletter.
newsletter,
You know,
online, Facebook,
low,
whatever.
there's certain woods that don't produce as much smoke. Think about your neighbor, that sort of thing. There's certain
That's probably a
types of
good
fire
start.
pits that,
When the wind's blowing right.
yeah, you might not be thinking about. Exactly. Yeah,
It's also a health thing.
absolutely.
yeah.
But, again, it's one of those things, where you get someone who's opposed to it who comes in, and then when you react to it, then you get all the people who have fire pits coming and go, what the heck
I like
are
the
you
cat
doing?
ordinance. Happened to be an anniversary for the cat ordinance. I
Yeah.
think it popped up on Facebook today or
I don't know
yesterday.
about the cat ordinance. I wasn't here for that.
Oh, I think you were.
The cat ordinance?
It was before her time?
Yeah.
Really? It's more than 4 years ago?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Oh. Yeah, well, I mean, it's, the trees, I mean, all this stuff, when you make it,
This was nothing compared to the cats.
Yeah, you guys were like, people are gonna come out of the woodwork upset about the tree ordinance. No, people are happy.
oh, no, now, but we made changes to it. I think initially there were people that were upset with it. And again, I'm looking at X amount of years ago where the people were pretty upset with it, back in the day.
So I think it's asking for this locations that got a ordinance and see what it looks like, and then we can go from there.
And we.
And then work
do
on
the
education.
piece.
Education,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay.
When's the next newsletter?
Good question. 'Cause
Is it
came
a
out
summer?
in-
We just had
We
one,
just had
so I
one,
think
so
we do
yeah.
late summer.
Well, that's perfect then, because that's when like fire pits start coming out.
True.
You
True.
know?
People use it in the fall.
Yep.
All right, so we'll end on some good stuff here. Just a rendition of the upcoming Kenny Pickett Field.
Oh.
You don't get to look at it.
Here, Dave, you see it?
Mike Patrico.
Dave, I'll drop it off to you later on.
Yeah. We'll put one in your
I'll
mailbox.
take a picture.
Councilman.
Hold on, Dave, I'll take a
No,
picture.
I'll just go like this.
Oh, I can see it now. It's
There you go. I showed it to the phone.
perfect. There you go.
Oh, look at that. It's really nice.
Yeah, it is really nice. Mike Patrico wanted you all to see this, so he wanted me to do it last meeting. It was a little difficult over the phone to do that, so
Looks
If you
great.
cared,
I
you
figured
would've.
bring it to this meeting.
And this is open space or capital?
I thought it was fundraising.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's fundraising for it.
Yeah,
Only fundraising?
pretty much. I believe so, because Mike
Is it-
Patrico's been meeting with different people,
For
but
a starter, that's what I
don't
think.
hold me to that. We'll
Across
find
it
out.
from the junior hall.
It looks great.
Yeah, no,
really
it's
does.
beautiful.
Yeah. Are
those
bleachers only on one side normally? I don't.
No, but probably
No.
space.
Yeah, we didn't have room on the other side because of the kitty part. There's an existing hot lot there.
And that's, I mean,
They
it's
could put the
optimal to
teams
have it
on
on
that
both
side.
sides, but.
How does
I've
it
been
look?
Plenty of
for the
fields where you
experts?
have just
I
one
don't
You know,
side.
people-
I don't know
Gorgeous.
football.
People could line up and watch
Everybody yells.
standing
It does,
around.
yeah.
That's right. Play it all on the other side.
Exactly.
Now, one thing to give consideration to this, when we were doing this, is the bleachers are put over there because of the tot lot, but we may want to look at reversing the bleachers and just moving the tot lot, because having the bleachers closer to the parking lot may be a better, so people don't have to walk as far.
And what about benches for the players?
Yeah, that we didn't get into that deep.
Oh, that
because
level
You
of
really wouldn't
detail,
see
okay.
it on here. Kind of wanted to make sure you focused on the field and the
Right.
big things.
They're young, they can stand.
And this is,
Their coaches aren't.
oh,
They're looking, there you go.
They-
nice.
Coaches don't
They're
do
peeking
that.
over.
So,
Make sure-
so we're replacing the grass field with
Make
turf,
sure the guests get some.
and it's gonna be a non-taxpayer funded project, which is a win-win for all of us. So,
Right.
And you couldn't have a better person that gives back to the community, so.
Thank you.
Big fun, I'm a Brassy Opie fan, so I know all about it.
So, that concludes my report for the evening.
Thank you, Dave.
Yep.
Just,
Let's go around the horn here.
I just wanted to thank Tracy for those two issues that she resolved,
Oh, absolutely.
the housing and the complaint. That was really quick.
Yep. Okay. We aim to please.
Really fast, I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right, any other items? Rob, let's start with you.
do we have a date for the playground?
September 12th is the ribbon cutting.
Want to give another, do you want to give an update?
Oh,
I'm asking since it's
well,
on my
I
list.
don't want to put Greg on the spot, but I was watching that email traffic with Tony. So the depth, so that the excavation can occur, who does that? Do I have to,
Yeah, I don't know who was doing that, so kind of what I was trying to get to, but I'm gonna do a grading plan, but I didn't know when he needed it.
like, yesterday?
Okay,
We're-
well,
like-
I didn't know who was doing the grading, because I wanna talk to that person who understands what my cut sheets or,
It'll be CRA, Chris Aldarelli.
okay, so that's the guy who was emailing me. All right, so we'll meet with him.
Okay. Oh, he has your contact
Yeah,
information?
yeah,
Oh, okay,
'cause
good.
I emailed him once, but he didn't exactly tell me he was gonna be the guy doing the work.
Okay.
So, but we'll get to him next week. And
Yeah, because I
work
know
that
he's
out.
getting into his heavy season,
Yeah,
so he was going to try and do that ahead of
Okay.
his normal business.
I'll reach out to him tomorrow and set something up with him for
Awesome.
next week.
Thank you.
Do we have anything to do with the dog park?
No, county.
I think that's the count.
Right, but I mean, nothing leading in, it's all totally
All them,
them?
they're planning.
And
their-
since the break-in,
their
we have-
engineer,
We haven't heard
their
anything,
RFP bids, whatever they gotta do.
and we haven't heard anything since the
Since the
groundbreaking.
groundbreaking, no.
Hopefully. Come back up, come on.
You're going to make me start saying that.
It's always a good one.
It
Got
is
that
cool.
one. That's nothing. Virtual council meetings.
Of course, I had it at the last meeting, my notes. Most towns have a mixture,
Hybrid?
hybrid. And the ones that do, manager does it, but they say they're not really working that well.
Not working because of the technology or not working
Monitoring.
because
The monitoring, and, yeah, it's been tough. We were talking about doing, was it YouTube? Like,
Yes.
live where they can see the meeting live, but not
Participate.
participate.
So
I
this
have
isn't
my
live,
notes
that's
on-
happening
So
right
at
now?
least people can kind of,
Okay.
that could be a,
So since I sell the technology, so we're just trying to dig a little deeper. So what part of it doesn't work?
They were saying it's difficult keeping track of who's raising their hand, who wants to chime in. There's a
Oh,
lot.
I can explain. When I was in Bradley Beach,
Right?
I was the Zoom operator and the administrator, and it's a challenge.
That I get. Doing two
That's-
roles I
that's-
get.
Yes.
that's
But
what
the
you're
techno,
talking about.
okay, so that's,
It wasn't a technology, it was a challenge that even though the administrators are doing it,
right,
council has questions for me, I'm trying to let people in.
right. So I would
It just got a
agree
little crazy.
that that's probably not the best way.
Yeah.
So the technology does allow it to happen.
Didn't we have
Have we-
problems with it when we were doing it during COVID?
We didn't use the right technology. Having said that, did you call the Board of Ed by any chance?
No.
May I ask that we check with the board?
Sure.
Because the board seems to do it very well. It's very organized, it's very regimented. You have to register your questions. You
Yeah, I
have to-
participated that way.
I've seen that in
Yeah.
different municipalities. too.
Right,
Yeah.
so it's not a back and forth, it's ask your question, just like we do.
but they have a
Right.
dedicated person doing
They
it.
have an IT person doing it, which
So we would need somebody extra to do it.
Steve for 2 hours every now and then, or somebody. I mean,
Or even, Tom Rowe? If he does our,
Can he do that and that?
oh, I don't know.
I
Yeah,
probably
'cause
think
remember,
not.
he's-
I would
he's
think
the
not.
camera
Well, would you
person
have to
right
do
now.
both, because you could just record the session and then release the session? You wouldn't
Tom?
need both technologies,
You
right?
there? It can probably be connected, but the way that's recording back there with
No,
them.
I mean, record the Zoom session or whatever technology is
Right.
used would negate the need for this camera sessions,
No,
because you're
cameras-
recording it.
Yeah, well, they're coming through the cameras. That's how you're seeing people. Go ahead, Tommy.
What do you want?
So if we did a hybrid meeting, probably not this one, but the downstairs one.
Yes.
Pick a platform,
I
Zoom,
can-
Microsoft
I
Teams,
can stream it live if you want.
right?
We can, when we did the last time we did this, was that we had a iPad hooked up to the Zoom and pumped that into the camera system, and we would switch back and forth. You know, if somebody had a question on Zoom, we would switch to that. That's a possibility. Or,
Messy or no?
it wasn't particularly nasty. The only thing is you need an iPad with nothing on it, because what I would find is that sometimes I get a message from
Pops
somebody that would pop
Pops up.
right? Then deal with that, but,
Yeah.
we can talk about it more if you want.
Yeah, let's research what the Board of Ed's doing, 'cause it sounds
Yeah.
like they might have some more sophisticated equipment.
Right.
Not really. I mean, the building isn't that much more sophisticated than ours. I mean, they're using a camera and they got the sound system. I mean, but let me, before we go too much farther, I know we asked Jessie to look, and thank
Right.
you.
I
Yeah.
don't- and I have my notes.
Before we ask her to go further, is this something we still want to investigate? I'm all for a hybrid meeting, personally.
That's up to your colleagues.
Right, I'm looking,
Well, it would just enable more citizens to participate.
yes.
I don't have a problem with the YouTube piece, showing the meeting. I think it's a great idea, to have people see the meeting. I think when you get into keyboard bandits, that's a problem. And that's what you have, or keyboard bandits, people that want
You can
to,
turn the chat feature off,
Oh,
right?
chat would be off. Yes, chat would be off, I agree with that.
it's a lot easier for,
It's good.
it's,
I've never heard that term.
a keyboard
Me
bandit?
neither, I was like, what's it called?
Yeah, that's good, I got it, I know what he's talking about.
Oh, no.
It's in Bartlett's under John Clifton.
It's a keyboard bandit. It's a lot easier to throw a dagger at somebody through a screen as opposed to being in a council meeting. That's my issue. Like, if you've got an issue with us, just come here and,
But what the board does, they screen the questions. So it's like an interview, it's like the debate. If they don't like the question,
And they screen for citizenship too? Like
Yes.
they have to be residents?
for the most part, I believe that is true.
Do you know who
Yeah, you
would
still
work
have to
that?
have somebody.
Talk to Kelly, wait, I'll get your name.
Okay,
You don't have to be a
Conway.
resident, though.
I never even thought to contact her.
You don't have to be a
Town-
resident to ask
Kelly
a
Conway.
question.
Mary Ann.
In a town
Mary Ann
council
Conway.
meeting?
I know
No.
it was
Then why do we ask them
Sorry.
for addresses when they
Just
speak
for
in-
the record, just to like, we've had people attend meetings from other towns,
Still got to manage this. who you let in.
advocate on
That's still-
Right,
certain
that's the
issues.
point. That's what they do well.
But it's not, you can attend any meeting.
Oftentimes, if
It's just
there's
for the
a lot
record.
of people to speak, you want to hear from the township residents first. And, those non-township residents, wait to the end.
We haven't had many non-township
No, there was, I
residents
just
in a
remember.
We've
while.
there
had
was one
non-township
The guy from Long Branch.
There was a woman
More
too
than
from
that.
like Neptune, who's like an environmental,
Okay.
That's your buddy.
was an issue. I don't know.
When we were dealing with 35 and Deal Road, there were
That's
people that were
true. You're right.
non-township people.
Okay.
So was that a yes, let her keep looking?
Can't hurt to explore it.
I had a few and I didn't bring it this time, I had it last time, I know. I had that and the naming of buildings.
That was my
And
next
streets,
one.
yeah. There is nobody has anything on
Okay.
that.
The
I
name
did
of what
print a few
building?
things
To
out.
name process for naming buildings,
Mm.
I had
which is fine. Then we can just keep doing what we're doing.
printed out how you can do it and suggestions.
Oak Crest Meeting, that was next. Hold please, almost. Shade Tree Canyon Fire and customer set. That's not there. 1515, not gonna bring that up now. Good with that. You just answered that. I'm good, thank you.
all right. Marge?
Yes, let's see. So just an update from the Shade Tree Commission on the tree planting. We got permission from the Board of Ed to allow tree planting with the Shade Tree collaboration on the intermediate school. Bill Brooks was super helpful in terms of, they wanted a particular type of plum tree, but our tree expert said that's really gonna be destroyed by the deer, so he recommended a different type, and they've collaborated, and they're gonna get that project off the ground hopefully by the end of the month. They're also working on getting 3 trees in the ground at the golf course.
Oh, we go back up.
Yep. So hopefully, again, by the end of the month. The community garden update, Jack made a great suggestion last time about having it at the human resources area back there. Actually, the garden club met and also came up with that same idea, so I think maybe we should get out there to see if that's a feasible spot, if there's water source. Currently, the garden club is looking at, they've met with and toured different gardens, so Shrewsbury, I think they're also doing Tinton Falls and Eatontown, and they're gonna come back and we're gonna have a meeting to see how it works feasibility-wise. I just wanted to know, because I know a couple meetings ago, we talked about the Lollipop Pond, Mike Palutis' request to have like a subcommittee on that. He didn't present it to Deal Lake Commission, but he's talked to Dawn about the vision. And I guess he feels like because it's not involving the lake itself, it's just the trails around the lake, a township property, can we go ahead and move forward with that? And you had a concern about it being on the lake, but it's really the trails and the junk and the shrubbery that's being dumped. So I just want to move forward creating that if we can.
Something wrong?
I can't see him.
I think she was saying you had
I think
There
the
was a
question
concern,
was
wasn't-
for whether or not the Deal Lake Commission, whether or not that's part of their thing. If they're saying, because the way I read their charter, it's these trails around kind of are part of their purview.
territory,
So what-
jurisdiction, that's the right
If
word.
they're
So-
gonna say, no, it's not, then
So does he need to formally present it to the Deal Lake Commission?
I would
That would be
let
the
them,
recommend-
I would let them make I would let them make the decision first.
Why not just get
And if I didn't hear you right, did it sound like he talked to Don and Don said it wasn't his responsibility? He didn't care?
There was, somebody had expressed concern about an oversight of that because they were concerned that too much would be taken away.
That was Greg.
Right.
Oh, yeah. We got that covered, though.
Margie,
Okay.
did, I can't get names right. I'm
Mike?
sorry. Did Mike talk to Don and Don was the one that said he didn't care? That Deal Lake did need to be involved?
He just said he's spoken and shared the vision with Don, but have not presented to the commission as a whole officially.
But who came back and told Mike that it wasn't, Deal Lake Commission wasn't responsible?
No, I just thought it wasn't,
Oh, I'm
because
sorry.
it,
Okay, I thought,
So.
because
sound-
it's not involving the lake specifically,
Sounds
so.
like
the one where they
Mike
wanted to
should
do an
present to
ordinance
Deal
for
Lake,
the
Deal Lake should make an official
Yeah.
decision, and then Don should send me an email saying,
Exactly.
we're out of it, and then
Got
I'll
it.
copy counselor, everybody be happy, onward.
Okay,
Even if they don't
I'll make
get
that
their signatures,
recommendation.
probably better to get the letter.
Yeah, that's why I want something in
So
so
writing.
you,
Yep.
get something in writing, I'm just figuring out next time. Get something in writing and then
Yeah,
send it
but
to
it should
you.
be the Deal Lake Commission, not just Don saying it, this way
Yep,
everybody's on board.
Perfect, thanks.
Majority.
commission
What commissions were.
saying okay for us.
CYA.
Okay, and then the last thing, code enforcement for properties that have, just wondering where we stand on getting people out to
Check permits and
check
stuff.
permits. People are saying construction's being done without permits, and, you know, I
We are
don't,
taking those phone calls by the hour.
by the hour,
And
okay,
we are addressing them
okay,
by the day.
all right. Is there
Next
anything
week.
done, being done like in that department to, do we need more people, or is it more
Definitely.
Not gonna happen now, next budget maybe.
next budget?
We
Okay,
got one person coming in, but they won't be an inspector. The one person coming in is to handle applications coming in front desk, so, yeah. I mean, the inspectors are doing the best they can. They're pretty much, as somebody used to tell me, they're drinking from a fire,
oh, yeah.
Mhm. fire hose.
It's probably like shoveling while it's still snowing.
But we're getting out there though and addressing them, because they're coming to my
Mhm.
office a whole
Mhm.
lot.
Mm-hmm.
Are the claims true?
Oh, yeah, yeah. And sometimes it's, people have permits and then they go a little bit too far. They're supposed to do one thing and they're doing 3, 4 other things, and then we have to tell them, stop work. You need to
Gotcha.
come to the board for that and deal with it from that perspective.
All right.
So new manager starting when?
Manager for where?
Code enforcement?
I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Want me to tell you?
Don't get scared.
Here's your rights notice.
Dave's like, man, new council, new manager, huh? I didn't know we were in Red Bank.
Long term.
Sorry,
What
board meeting.
department head?
Administrator, you mean administrator, the code enforcement administrator?
Yes.
I believe, I want to say June 1st.
Okay,
Because it's coming from Florida.
got it.
Yep.
All right. And then 2, do you have any idea of how often the inspectors are out versus being in?
Now, which inspectors now? Because code enforcement inspectors are different from community development UCC inspectors.
So, let's do code enforcement
They're out,
Every day,
they're, exactly.
all day long.
Yep,
all day.
all
And they
day.
come in for like an
They-
hour in the morning, get their agenda with the plans, and they're out till
Yep.
2:30 at the end of the day when they leave at 3.
Because remember, they're not only just doing the inspect, they gotta do the CO.
Plan
No, I'm
review.
with you.
So they get those
Okay.
schedules, and in between, they're checking on things, and as they ride by something, they may see something, and then they gotta stop and address that too.
Okay. Would now be the time to have our guest speak? Because that's on the
Yeah,
topic.
Dave.
Mr. Mayor? I think
Yes.
they're- I
It's
think
up
they're
to
here
the
for
mayor.
this.
Okay.
I don't know if Dave has anything to say.
Oh, Dave,
Sorry.
Any-
Sorry.
forgot about you
Any
on the
reports,
phone.
Dave?
Sorry. Mr.
Dave, you up?
Councilman
I'm
Fisher.
hiding in the background here, but I do have a small report. I did hear from, of course, they are going to be doing a massive capital improvement project, and he wanted to invite all of us over there to,
Hollywood Golf
Hollywood
Course.
Golf Course.
I only know because I.
and he wants to
I
you know,
thought you said
it's only in
police
the
force.
conceptual phase, and so I guess we just need a time and a date for that. Does anybody have a problem if we at lunchtime, a couple of weeks to go over there?
Sure.
Lunchtime doesn't work for me on Tuesdays, but otherwise,
Probably,
okay.
probably how's a Thursday work?
Usually, okay.
That's when the doctors play golf, no?
That's Wednesday.
Wednesdays.
I tell you, Rob,
He
you
plays
should know
golf
that.
every day.
That's like,
No, that's mommy and me swim day.
Dave, we'll get you a date there, we'll figure it out, we'll get you a Tuesday, is that, or
Not Tuesday.
not Tuesday? We'll get a date after this. Anything else, Dave?
Thursdays are good though.
Yeah, no, just, he wants, yeah, we probably want to do it sooner than later. We'll just go over and, we're gonna get a little dog and pony show. I guess, you know, they're doing a big project, so he wants to, you know, just include the town in the whole thing.
Let me
Okay,
guess, Dave. Dave,
ready?
let me guess. You got us lunch coming too?
What's that?
Did you get us lunch or what?
I believe I got us lunch.
There you go.
That will be paying for.
Yes.
You know I love lunch, so why would we pass on that?
Well, Dave's a member. He's going to be buying it for us.
I'm buying.
Okay, Dave, anything else? Because we do have some people here that have to speak.
No, I'm good.
Thanks, Dave. Kelly, anything?
No.
I'll defer.
Oh, good.
Here we
Hi,
go.
my name's John DiGenito, and I'm a 30-year resident of Ocean Township. I live at 160 Delaware Avenue. This is my neighbor Kathy Savari, who's been here almost as long as I have. And I just want to say I love our community, and I care about our community, and I appreciate the work that you're doing. You know, and I'm going to tell you some things you don't want to hear. This is a house that's in our neighborhood that, you know, you would normally report on the app that you did away with. Maybe too many people reported, I don't know. But, you know, you can take a look at it. It's in total disarray. This is one of these houses, they did a full demolish inside, threw all the crap in the backyard. Right now, there's about 5 stickers on it. And this is happening all over our community.
My neighborhood.
Oakhurst is a disaster. You have 90 properties for sale, many which aren't being taken care of. And, you know, I appreciate our new neighbors from out of town. And, you know, I welcome everybody. I ask you to follow the rules that every resident follows, and they're not. I have this going on right next to our house, and it really is affecting our quality of life. They don't cut their lawns, they don't take their garbage out. This is happening right next to us all the time. They're here for a few months at a time. They put out their recycling, they don't follow any rules that we have. And, you know, in Memorial Day weekend when they come down, they're gonna put all their leaves out and their branches and their garbage all together. Now, I'm paying a landscaper quite a bit of money, and Kathy's got her kids out there working, and we're trying to follow what's in the calendar and do what's right. They have no concern about it. The town is giving up. The town is just collecting everything all year round. And when those guys are supposed to be doing potholes or something else, now they're touring around and they're constant because it's year round. Next to my house right now is going on a project by somebody who's only there a couple months. It's basically a bathhouse for his kids in the summer. And we've had a couple rough summers. The person that owns it's owned it for 2 years. And the only thing I ask anybody is follow the rules that we have, follow the zoning that we have, do what we need to do. And this is not happening. And I know this because when we both have dogs and we walk dogs, Kathy in a previous life was a dog walker. So when you walk around, it's not like I'm looking for it. You do not have enough people for code enforcement. It's a big problem. And it's not really just in Oakhurst. It's happening in Wayside, it's happening in other areas in town, Wanamassa. You know, and just to, you know, go through the trail of what's happening. Okay, so next to my house is a garage. This is a garage that has been there for over 100 years. Used to be a distillery. And in this garage, it's just been a storage garage for the previous owner. And this person who owns this house has now taken it upon themselves to remodel their house and to remodel this garage. It's 3 inches off my property line. So it bites right up against me. And, you know, they didn't put any permits in for it. And this is happening all over our neighborhood. They did not put one permit in until I brought it up. And yes, the people, we
and another neighbor.
Yes, because and it's happening.
And
We've been emailing?
Yes, absolutely.
no,
absolutely.
we've called
Yes.
so many times, and it took.
Yes, I would have
it
loved to
took-
have a conversation
It
with
took
you on the
him
phone,
asking
which I
for
asked
the
for, which
Oprah
he didn't
request
do, so.
for them finally to get.
But, I
All of
mean-
a sudden, they needed permits. No, they didn't need any permits. There was 2 dumpsters out there. There was literally 2 dumpsters. There was all kind of work going on.
Can we
And
have
called
one,
the
excuse
town
me.
A lot of times.
Excuse me, can we have one at a time?
Yeah, we're on the same page. So this is my house, and this is how close it is to my house. Now, They finally, due to pressure to me, put in permits for both the house and the garage. They're gonna put a bathroom. So our town is now allowing a bathroom to be put in a 2-car garage with a dirt floor with no utilities. A separated 2-car garage with a dirt floor. That's what it was. So first, they're going to put in a bathroom. And then on the permit, you can look at it, it says only storage. You don't put bay windows. They're gonna use it for a living facility. And when you walk out my backyard and my deck, the only back door I have, what do I have? That's what I'm gonna have. The next thing they're gonna do is they're gonna put a pool in a space, and you really should look at the ordinance for how far a pool has to be from the property line. And I'll tell you, I'll be out there with a measuring stick for the 10 feet, it's gotta be on both sides. There's no room in the back of this house to put a pool, I don't know what they're gonna do. And as we walk around, Kathy will tell you, people are just, it's like they don't care and they wanna just do it, and then they'll ask forgiveness later and they'll pay the fine that's there. It's happening all over. This is the view from my fence, and this pool's gonna be right there.
In ground too.
It's going to be an issue. And I'm concerned about it. I don't think they're well enough staffed, and I think, one of the suggestions I would give you is, when people come to town, and we have so many new residents in Oakhurst in particular, and they need to get a welcome packet.
Yeah.
They're not reading the calendar. They need to know and the basic things. This guy next door, at the end of the summer when he leaves in August, left his garbage cans there with all the food in it. So in about a month, I was worried about rodents, and she yelled at me, and I put the garbage out because I couldn't stand the smell. That's what's going on, and it's just too much. And so that is something I want you to address. I even brought the survey to show you how close this existing thing is. I've lived there for 30 years looking at the back of a garage that was used for storage. And now he's gonna turn it into either a pool house or an apartment, and it concerns me. And it's not just my house. We could take you on a little ride. We have turned in so many on our street on Delaware, it's ridiculous. There's, we've had 2-3 dumpsters and we see it because we're not because we're looking for it, or not because we wanna, and all I ask these people to do is to take hold of what the ordinance are and the regulations. So now this guy has till Friday to turn his variance application in. Or he's gonna get fined, and I hope that happens. And when that thing is, I don't wanna hear that he's gonna claim, which a lot of these guys do, hardship. It's not hardship, he's spending a lot of money on this whole operation.
So he's gotta put the application in by Friday, if not, he's gonna get fined, and there'll be a cease and desist order that he can't do any more work on it.
Right.
Okay.
Right, definitely.
I think
More
stop
than a
work order is
fine.
already applying.
Definitely.
Stop work order, I think, is already applying.
They're in there day and night,
Based
7 days a
on
week.
his citing.
7 days a week.
So
We-
Ron,
7
so I
days a
talked to
week.
Ron about this, I thought I understood tomorrow application, if not fine, and then Monday, if the application's not in, cease and desist. If I got it wrong,
Okay. I think they went and talked to the guy, because he had to stop building,
Okay.
because he's way out of,
You have a police department.
he's way out of his league right now.
They're using like 6 different, and I've talked to the people, and you have some good people here. Maloney, Kate was very helpful with me, very professional, and listen, I told you, I love the community and I appreciate what you're doing, because you're not, they can't pay you enough for these complaints. But you need to, and I saw a couple candidates walking around, we were walking the dogs, and that's why we came here. Second issue I want to talk to you about
That was
is
probably us.
yes, it was your team. It was definitely your
you
team.
caught me and Dave.
The other thing before our time is up is we want to talk to you about the tax assessment, because I'm out of my mind about this. My tax assessment, I live in a 3-bedroom ranch, no basement, no garage, on a 100 by 100 piece of property. My assessment went up because of that previous tax assessor, which you got rid of. Great job, I'm glad you did. I had heard we were in some pilot system about the assessment. You should get out of it because it's not right. My assessment and Kathy's
They have to reassess.
and everybody else on
It's
our
so
street
unfair.
went up $200,000 in
What
1
percent?
year.
And my house is falling down.
$200,000.
Hold on, what percentage did it go up?
Well, it went from 500,000
Right.
to 708,000. I couldn't get $708,000 from my house. I'll leave tomorrow. You can have what's in it. It's ridiculous, and I am so
40%.
concerned about what that tax bill is going to be.
40%.
Because it's ridiculous, and the thing is, they did it at the height of the market when the economy was different, and it's not right. My taxes are going to go through the sky, and I know the rate will drop. I understand all that. My taxes, listen, you get what you pay for. We got a good school system. We have a beautiful town. We have Palea Park. We enjoy it a lot. and we see the improvements. You know, we walk on the path, you were talking about phase 3. You know, we've fallen on the path. So when we see the improvements, we appreciate it. But the assessment, we have to reassess. That because I am telling you, don't worry about me, John DeGenito, you're gonna have a huge problem. Now,
John, did you, on that assessment that went up that
Yeah.
much, did you file an appeal?
Here's what we did. Trish Murch, who is Permit Solutions across the street from us, we all together.
have the same house.
She filed and has the exact same house as hers, and hers has similar square footage. She got the comps and everything else, and she was shot down. So
The problem is, the rest of the, well, one, that pilot program, we've been in since 2013.
yeah,
It's a year to year, so it also is delayed a year. So when the rates are going down, they're going to be, those are gonna be impacted at the end of this year, which are going to show the trailing 12 months.
The thing is, it's not a pilot program anymore. It's
No.
already past that
It's
phase
a
where we can get out of it.
It's a failure. Get
It's a
out of it.
failure.
It's a
It-
failure.
We can't get out of
We
it.
can't get out of it because it was passed in
It's
2013.
a countywide.
Only Monmouth County and one other county, I think it's
Yes.
Sussex, signed on to it. Not all towns in Monmouth County did. There's a handful that didn't. The issue, I think it wanted to make it more fair and consistent. We didn't anticipate, or no one anticipated, not we, because I wasn't here when they signed on to it, but no one anticipated that through COVID, the assessments would go up that much. So, you know, I think I'm facing the same issue in West Allenhurst. All my neighbors are, you know, our assessments went up so much, and it's frustrating because we want to stay in the community. You don't want to sell your house.
I can't get that for my house. You never have an assessment on a house more than you can get for it. It's usually less. And the problem is, if somebody bought that house that's assessed at that amount, I cannot sell my 3-bedroom ranch with 1,500 square feet for $709,000. They will not be able to get a mortgage saying that, and it's going to be an issue.
But that would be the basis.
But I don't think we can do anything as a
I
council.
don't want to
I
live in Ocean.
I hear the issue, but I
So-
don't think we can do anything as a council correct me if I'm wrong, can we?
Well, I mean,
there's no-
the point is, if you say, and if you present testimony, and Matt does the tax appeals, so that this is way above what I can get for my house, and you have comps that show that you could get 580, 590, whatever number it is, that's the basis for a tax appeal.
That's what you can
The
do.
problem is, the market changed, and that's
Right.
why you have 90 houses for sale. Nobody can sell now. And
No question.
our wonderful new visitors, all they want to do is a secret deal, cash deal behind the thing, and they want to break. Because they're going to gut it and do what they're trying to do next door and make it into something it shouldn't be after I've lived there for 30 years. I really think you need to look at it, because I understand about being fair and everything else, but we know for a fact, some of these people that are putting on additions in their house, they're not being reassessed after they double the size of the house. We got Bobby's house on the corner.
I spoke to Mr. Neiman about it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
There's so many houses, DeSarno, I know you know, Bobby and Jane, their house, I actually have pictures, and I spoke to Mr. Neiman about it, and he was not approachable. He was actually very nasty, and so was his assistant, who I believe was also let go.
Alpha?
She, I believe, yeah, not nice. And Trish knows, Trish Donovan really knows her stuff. She was not nice to her. I believe she hung up on her once. And she gave both of us incorrect information. But we found out about the Sarno's house
All of them are gone. Yeah.
5 years ago, maybe 6. There was a whole addition added on. They were never reassessed.
And it's
But yet
happening.
we are.
You read
And
those slips,
all
right?
the new houses were not reassessed. I spoke to Mr. Neiman. I have pictures, and I could show you that. And he was saying some type of 5-year.
Yes, so
Yeah.
20% of the houses get
That's it.
reassessed. So it ends up being that 20, around 5 years that you get reassessed.
And then when I spoke to his assistant, I said, because she's like, well, we can't go in the house to check it out. I go, you could visually, I left them in. I had nothing to hide. Like, I don't have a lot in my house. So when inspectors came, I left them in. I heard it was to my benefit to do that.
Absolutely.
Right, I have nothing to hide, and might help me. But the assistant said, well, we can't get in their house. I'm like, well, if they did permits, you do have the plan for that.
can't go by those plans though.
You could visually see, it was a
When you-
whole.
They added 2,000 square foot to
No,
the house and they
no,
reassessed them for
yeah.
taxes. Meanwhile, we went up $200,000.
So, but they will be reassessed within
Well,
5
we're
years.
waiting, they've been in
Yeah.
that house a while with that addition.
And it's
so-
an LLC.
How
Not
many
that
years
has
has
anything
it
to do
been? That they've been-
But how many years that addition? 3 at least?
About four.
Four.
They're
So probably-
reevaluated every 5 years, they're reassessed every.
Yeah, sorry.
No,
I'm
it's-
correcting you, I'm looking.
There's, every 5 years, there's supposed to be an internal inspection.
Correct.
So
Right.
of every year, 20%, somebody goes inside and looks.
Right.
That's to tell whether or not you have a kitchen that's been upgraded or low. But every year, based upon the sales that occur within the township, everything's set up into different neighborhoods. Everybody's house gets reassessed.
Our houses are assessed $150,000 more than we could ever sell them for right now, because they assessed it at the heat of the market when the interest rate was 3%. You now have a 7% interest rate with a debt ceiling problem coming, and it could really get bad. And you know, I talked to Chris about this once. I live in Chris Siciliano's house. I bought my house from Chris Siciliano.
That's why they assessed it.
So
so
yeah,
much.
they probably knew he was involved with it, and he said, you should be happy your house went up so much in value from
Yeah.
what you bought it 30 years ago, and I absolutely am. I love our community, but in 1 year to take $200,000, my taxes could go up $4,000 in 1 year. We have a lot of senior citizens in Oakhurst. We used to be a neighborhood of ranches and small Cape Cods. They are building these monster McMansions that are inappropriate for our neighborhood. They are way too big. There's a poor little old lady a couple blocks from us.
You
that
have
they-
to go up on Ampere,
It's terrible.
because that is unfair what happened.
3,000
She had
square
cancer,
foot.
and if she spoke to me, because I walk and I'm like the neighborhood watch, we would have got her in touch with Trish. And Trish would have had her file an Oprah request,
Yeah, she
and
did.
that's why things got done with him, because we talked to the town. We spoke to Tracy, who started not getting nice with us. We called so many times about the house across the street, 473, and oh, they don't need permits. I'm like, we see 2 dumpsters. What do you mean you don't need permits? And then all of a sudden, he filed an Oprah request. They were shut down for 2 weeks. She didn't know about that Oprah request. You go up on Ampere. I wish I had, you can't miss it. Come off Freehold. It's the
It's ridiculous.
3rd house on the right. Okay, it went from a little white shack to this big monstrosity, all right? And it's feet from her house. She called in, she had cancer, the lady to the right, and she was questioning, you know, what's happening, you know, and they told her, you should be lucky such a big house is being built next to you.
Yeah, and the thing is, everybody has a right to see what's going on.
It's a shame she didn't get in touch with me sooner. I would have had her do the Oprah request. It's not fair. You go, I know you, I know John, you tell me when you go past it. And that owner, by the way, has not paid, from what I was told by the bordering neighbors, he has not paid taxes in a few years. It's for sale now.
We'll have a lien on
But
it if that's
there's a
the
lien
case.
at something, but they have not paid taxes. The lady across the street hasn't paid taxes in 35 years. Her father used to own it, and Mr. Neiman got nasty with me. We found out about that. People talk in the neighborhood, and I walk a lot. And I called Mr. Neiman, his assistant was so nasty, and I said, you know, when her father was alive, I guess he was a war veteran, so they didn't have to pay taxes. He died years ago, and the mother died a few years ago. She is a doctor at the Children's Hospital. She drives a BMW or Mercedes, doesn't keep up her property, but she has not been paying taxes on it. All right, Kath, what we'll do is, the manager's on this right now. He'll
Yeah.
make sure that the zoning officer goes over there and checks this out.
Yeah.
And looks at this, especially the issue that you have.
I
you know,
mean,
next to your
just
house.
take a ride around the neighborhood. What's
Yeah,
going
you just
on,
gotta
'cause
look
it's-
around.
It's
Okay.
the bigger
But
picture.
my concern is. We will send them out.
Yeah, but
We
like,
have-
with John, real quickly, so, isn't
Kathy's
this
house
kind of
faces
like
this driveway and this
Right.
garage.
Isn't
So
it
she's
like
she's actually in fact as
backwards
much
the
as
way
I am.
this is going with this house? Shouldn't the variance have been gotten
Yes.
before this work got done?
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
happening all
Okay,
over though.
and
That's
so
what you
why
had said.
now is it only, the town, oh no, they didn't need permits, they didn't need permits. All of a sudden he asked for an Oprah request.
well, they were shut down for 2 weeks. Oh, yeah, we know they needed
But you-
permits.
Marty, let me ask
I think
you know,
part of it is
it's-
people aren't transparent.
Marty,
about
let
what
me
they're
ask
doing.
you a
That's part of
question,
the town's-
you know, because
In this
this,
case anyway, I can't speak for all of them,
in,
but.
in a case such as this, because this has come up a lot, even when we were walking over the last 8 weeks, so you're not the first people that were hearing about this
No.
issue, nor are you the first people where we're actually seeing it, because when we did walk this community, we did see it a lot. Is there anything that we can do as a governing body to potentially raise the fines for people that don't really care?
I think the fines are probably at the maximum amount that's allowed by statute.
$2,000.
$2,000.
That's the max that we,
That's
Per
the
day.
max.
Yeah.
per
It
day?
can be imposed per day.
No, but I'm talking about somebody who actually does the work.
It doesn't make a difference what the violation is. Under municipal court, the maximum fine for this type of penalty is $2,000. Doesn't make, you know.
What do you
so
mean
that's-
2,000 a day? What,
Well,
That means if they don't fix it, if you're in violation.
but you
of
can't
X,
fix some, if they built, if
They have
they
to take it
built
down.
a structure,
they
They'd have to take it down.
right,
well,
so would they be
let me
fined?
tell you typically what would happen. If somebody builds a structure and didn't have approvals, they would ultimately get a ticket, and they'd have to appear in court. When they appear in court, typically what happens is the prosecutor says, okay, you have X amount of time to go in now before the board and get your approval.
Yeah.
And they hold the case until the people go in and get the approval.
Are most of them approved?
Are most of them approved? To be honest with you, it's not something that happens
It's more frequent.
a lot, but when it happens, you know, if they've built it, I've seen situations where they said, no, take it down. We've had situations like that. And a lot of situations, depending upon how egregious they determine it is, they said, okay, we'll approve
Well,
it.
I mean, they're putting bay windows in their little storage thing. That's the bottom line to what
Well,
they're doing.
but putting the bay windows in
Who
would not.
puts windows this big in a
Okay, so
storage thing?
what you're reaching a conclusion which may be a reasonable conclusion.
Well,
I'm
based
not
on-
saying it's not, but the bottom line is, putting bay windows in, if they're allowed to have windows in, doesn't necessarily violate anything. So the issue becomes, why are they doing it? Well, that's the next step maybe, but putting the windows in, probably not a violation of anything. So, and maybe they just want a nice looking.
permit on putting the bathroom you allowed in their detached garage with dirt floor. It says, big print on it, because it was finally taped up there, that they could only use the garage for storage, because it's 3 inches off my property line. I'm telling you, you got a huge problem going on, not just my next door neighbor. all
So
over
Dave, we can have
the
Kate
town.
look into that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
just,
she's already.
Okay.
just a quick suggestion,
Okay.
on the permit issue, but maybe, can we, for people who are like summer rental people,
I know
can we
that.
get a second calendar to them? You know what I mean, so that people are aware of,
Well, one thing
or is there some way, like if you apply for a
One, you mentioned
CO,
a
you get
welcome
a,
packet, I like that idea.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, I have a house in North Carolina, I have family in North Carolina, and they give you a packet, and it has like basic municipal laws, normally ones that are broken, with the utility connections. It's just and they have a welcoming committee from the town that actually does it for you, but it's just very helpful. Now, whether they follow it or not is a whole other story.
Yeah.
And
You
listen,
said Tricia Merch, she lives in your.
She's
by your-
across the street from our house.
Okay, and she's
she
very
went-
involved in the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, she's a great. lady.
Yeah, right. And perhaps, because we have other people here that may have some involvement in the Chamber of Commerce, and there was a period of time when the Chamber of Commerce would give a welcome thing, and there've been that suggestion from time. So it might be, from time to time, so it might be a good idea for Tricia to bring that up at a Chamber of Commerce board meeting and say, wouldn't this be a great idea for the Chamber?
She would have came tonight, except she's with her grandchildren in
Yes.
Disneyland, because, you know, she really can
Well, good
speak
for
to
her.
the zonings and the ordinance and everything
Yeah,
else.
she's permit solution.
Trish knows the rules, and, you know,
No
all
question.
I'm asking you guys to do is try to do a better job with the enforcement and getting the right personnel, and the taxes, you gotta look at it. My house is not worth $709,000. I invite any of you, I'd love you to come over, I'll give you a cup of coffee.
Well, and you should look at
and-
47, John, I'd like you to take a ride down. I think you know where I live.
Mhm.
It's right across the street. And you tell me what you think, if
What's
that
the
ever
number
should
on
have
it
been
again?
approved. 473, the house across from us.
Delaware?
This is a UCC.
What
Cat.
was she talking about?
Our neighbor, that's,
Kath, is it
Oh.
Garwood or Delaware?
No,
Garwood, Garwood.
well, I'm sorry.
It's either Garwood or Delaware.
Well, it's,
Garwood.
right.
You have a disagreement.
Give me the right address.
Garwood, it's Garwood.
We're on
right.
Delaware, but that's right, the
We
address.
do have-
Garage faces Delaware.
But
When I leave here,
for
I'll drive
months,
by.
We've been asking, real quickly, we were calling, we were on this when we saw it being done. And we're like, why is at least him not getting, what would you call it, for a variance? And now, months later, now they're only gonna have to
He's
get one.
gonna cry hardship, he's got a lot of money to
It makes
burn.
no sense.
But I'm gonna have an attorney, and I am going to go before the board when he goes with his variance, and I'm gonna fight it with everything I have, because I'm gonna have to sell my house. Because when you walk outside my little back door on my small little patio, that's what I'm gonna have. And I can't have that for quality of life. And-
We do have
And why did the lady
closed
up on
session.
Yeah,
we have to-
here?
Kath, I have to go into closed session. I'm already 15 minutes
I really
late.
appreciate your time.
I will
appreciate
take a
your
ride by
listening.
there and take a
And I
look.
appreciate your service, because like I said, it's a complaint bureau.
Thank
go to
you.
the supermarket,
Thank
they're
you.
looking for you, but I just,
Thank you.
Just want to know that the tax officials will.
And I want to show you something too, because
Someone should look into Trish
Development.
Merchant's, because hers
I
went up $200,000, she had
You
the
can
comps,
explain this.
and she was shot down with it, and that's why we decided not to do it, because
So
we
behind
said maybe
you
they're not.
were
All
gonna-
right, whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975 permits the exclusion of the
Appreciate
public
it, thank you.
from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas the public body is of the opinion and such circumstances presently exist, now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Ocean, County of Monmouth as follows: the public shall be excluded from the discussion of and action upon herein after specified subject matters. General nature of the subject matter to be discussed is litigation, various matters, litigation, various properties, personnel, various departments. Motion to approve.
I would like to ask if the public has 2 minutes to speak on what's happening tomorrow.
Jack, actually, I'm already 20 minutes late in legals.
For a half hour or more, right there, that's what I'm saying. I have one thing to say, congratulations on your elections. And so the other things I was gonna say is get those trees going, okay? And the shade tree's gonna tell you, we've gotta get your permission to do it. Tell them you got it, okay? Move it.
Got it, on
The
it,
deers, move it.
on it.
But what I would suggest with the deer, find what towns, you can call them up and ask them, what towns would want to play with you, and start with one town in line, and build it up to 4 or 5, whatever that might be. The virtual, do it, and Board of Ed has a great one, do it. Find out how you can make it work and let it go. Community garden, keep it going. Community garden.
I didn't put it by me, but you won't have any left.
And this the other one I'll take up with the shade.
Galleys,
But
galleys.
the Long Branch Environmental Commission had a meeting where they had at least a dozen tables of different people who function. And we had one little patch over in Polina Park where we handed out some trees. You gotta do better there. I'll take that to the other committees. Thank you, John.
Thanks, Jack, and thank you for the congratulations. Motion to approve.
Yeah.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, just want to give everybody a reminder that all council meetings will be audio and videotaped, and they'll be shown on the Township of Ocean's Community Cable Channel, Channel 22 on Verizon Fios, and Channel 77 on Cablevision. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Naplatani?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Donlin?
Here.
Councilmember Chera?
Here.
Terry?
Here.
Please stand for a pledge of allegiance and remain standing for a silent prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. While we're having our moment of silence, I just want to mention one of our residents who was heavily involved with wrestling, Ocean Township 1984 graduate, who is in serious medical condition right now, George Paneris. I just want everybody to make sure they keep him in your thoughts and prayers while we remain silent. Thank you. You may be seated. The notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act for this meeting have been satisfied. A copy of the annual notice was sent to the Asbury Park Press and the Coaster, posted in Town Hall, and filed in the office of the Municipal Clerk on December 8th, 2022. There are 2 emergency exits to the wall to my right that'll take you to the front of the building, and one to my left that'll take you to the rear parking lot. All cell phones must be turned off. If you need to make a call, please step outside. Before we get into our agenda, I'd like to do council comments. So we're going to start down at the end with Councilwoman Terry.
Thank you. I wanted to wish everybody a happy Mother's Day coming up on May 14th. I wanted to announce that Yoga 6 is going to be having their grand opening on 19 May. the So What concert at Joe Palea Park, 24 May. Gates open at 5:30. Tickets are $15 per vehicle. And on 27 May, the community pool and tennis facility will be open. Thank you.
Excellent. You want to give a mayor's ball update?
Oh, that was awesome. So the mayor's charity event took place this past Saturday at Deal Golf and Country Club. We had a Kentucky Derby theme. It wasn't planned to fall on the day, but it lined up perfectly. We had perfect weather, and we raised over $65,000 for pediatric cancer.
Record numbers?
Record numbers.
Awesome. Great job, Kel. Great job.
Excellent.
And thank you to everybody that attended. Deputy Mayor Donlin.
Yes, I just wanted to mention that Clean Sweep was rescheduled. And I'm just looking for the dates. Rob, do you have that?
Clean Sweep?
I think it's June 2nd.
I do.
And
Stand
just want to
by.
confirm.
About something else, go ahead.
Sorry, that's the only thing. I think it's June 3rd and 4th. Is that correct? I'll let you know in a second.
Hold please. June 10th.
Oh, sorry, June 10th. Thank God I did. June 10th,
10 to 2.
10 to 2. That's the meeting. The meeting place is Oakhurst Fireman's Field.
Thank you, Doc. Councilman Achara.
How about we do a Greater Ocean Township Chamber of Commerce mix and mingle at MJ's on May 16th? Let's see here. How much are we charging? How much are we charging? I don't know how much we're charging, but you can see it on our website, Greater Ocean Township Chamber of Commerce. It's May 16th at, I don't know times. I'm sorry, guys. Let me get this right. 6 to 8 p.m. And there is $15 for members and $25 for non-members. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Rob. Dave.
Nothing tonight, Mayor. No
Thank,
report.
thank you, sir. And Marty.
Nothing tonight, except it was a wonderful event on Saturday.
Thank you for attending.
Congratulations.
Yes, very pleased with the outcome of that. We had record numbers there and a phenomenal group of people. I want to thank everybody that attended and supported this great charity for pediatric cancer. Kelly has done amazing things with that entire foundation, and I honestly really can't say enough. I also want to thank all the candidates who ran for election to the Township Council this past Tuesday. It was not easy for anyone who put the time in. We all took time away from our friends and family, but it was well worth it. It was enlightening to hear from residents and their concerns, which we in turn conveyed to the manager. Now that the process is over, it's time for us to continue to govern this municipality in the same effective way that has been done and has always been. There are several social media sites that unfortunately have set an extremely negative tone for the incumbents. It's sad that as friends and neighbors, people would have to be subjected to this. But unfortunately, this is a new era of governing, and I get it. The election is over, and the only regret I have is that more people did not get out and vote. I have several Cuban friends of mine that have always told me that when they were suppressed in their country, they couldn't wait to get here and not miss an opportunity to vote. And I hope that people in this community see that. I wish everyone had the same attitude. Having been on both sides, winning and losing, I always kept my head held high and remained friends with most, if not all, of those people that I ran against. It's the only effective way to govern. And you never know when you're going to be in those people's company again. So as the mayor, I plead with our friends and neighbors to just be nice and respectful. My mother and probably every person up on this day has said the same thing. If you don't have anything nice to say, please don't say it at all. It's simple. All 20,700 registered voters had the same opportunity that the same 4,000 people that actually voted. It's a shame that only 4,000 people took the time out to vote. I know that the Township of Ocean is in great hands with the team that was elected this past Tuesday, and this team over the next month, will decide on the leadership, so there will be no discussion on this matter this evening as was discussed on social media. Please let the dust settle. Let us get back to business, and on July 1st at our reorganization, a decision will be made then. Thank you. So without further ado, I'd like to open it up for council comments on agenda items only. And the purpose of the public portion is to solely ask questions to understand resolutions that appear on the agenda and is not an occasion for a public hearing on an ordinance All questions not related to an item on this agenda should be asked during the public comments portion at the conclusion of the meeting. Anyone having questions on the agenda, please step up to the microphone, state your name and address.
Just a quick clarification, there was
Yes.
6,000 ballots cast this election.
It was 6,000? Okay. My mistake. Still very low. Seeing here none, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, resolutions 103 through 107?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Individual action, vote vouchers in the amount of $12,001,638.14. Someone please offer.
I'll offer.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Resolution 108, award a contract to Fury Paving Company, Inc. for Joe Palea Park Walking Trail Phase 3 in the amount not to exceed $91,350.42. Someone please offer.
I'll offer.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Resolution 109, authorizing a special assessment levy for Block 174, Lot 33. Someone offer.
I'll offer.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Resolution 110, authorize the extension of the installment plan for the property owners who have not remitted their installment for the special assessment as confirmed November 10th, 2022. Someone please offer.
I'll offer.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Ordinances up for adoption. Ordinance 2421, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 13 of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Ocean 1965 entitled Taxation. Someone please open discussion on Ordinance 2421.
I'd like to make a motion to open discussion on ordinance 2421.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Anyone wishing to be heard on Ordinance 2421, please step up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
It's Jackie Wenzel, 610 Dale Road. Could you just explain a little more detail about it?
David, you want to go over that ordinance, please?
Yeah, this just is the short-term tax abatement that will apply to the rehabilitation zone that the governing body passed several months ago.
So can you explain that a little more? What's the rehabilitation plan?
If you call me, it's better if I show you the maps and everything, but there's an area in town.
It's just people do watch these meetings, and at home, they don't all get a chance to come and see you, so if you could just explain it a little bit more clearly.
It's going to be very rough explaining without the maps. So there's a specific area, which I don't recall off the top of my head, that applies to the rehabilitation zone, which runs along the town in certain areas. And those certain areas will now, if they decide to fix up their houses or anything, they could apply for a short-term 5-year tax abatement.
So if there's work being done near their home, they can get a tax abatement
Work on their home.
on their home?
On their home.
Because taxes came up quite a bit during this election. That's what everybody was, really concerned about. Many of I kept talking about seniors because the first part of my campaigning, I met a lot of seniors. As I continued my campaigning, I was running into a lot of young families. And we always, we just kind of get a quick answer. Oh, your property value is going up and you're going to be happy when you sell your house, and that's it. And we never really get much more detail than that. So I was hoping that maybe we could plan a meeting. You could plan a meeting that we used to have a gentleman that used to show us all the budgets every year. We haven't done that in a while. Like he would have a screen, a PowerPoint.
Last week.
Last week.
Last meeting.
Last meeting. Sorry.
So you had all of the budgets what are going into this year?
Yes.
So is that online where we can see it somewhere?
Dave, where on the website is that?
Yeah, the budget's on the website.
The user-friendly budget's on the
So
website.
that's the budget for 2023, or just reviewing the one
Full
that-
budget's on there?
for going forward?
Yeah.
2023.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
So is there any for families, for young families right now that are
This
feeling?
is just in regard to the ordinance 2421. That's it. If you have any additional questions, we'll open it up for public comment at the end.
Okay, great.
Yep. Anyone else wishing to be heard on ordinance 2421? Seeing here none, someone please motion to close public discussion on ordinance 2421.
I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance 2421.
Second,
I'll second.
roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Action on ordinance 2421.
I'd like to move to approve ordinance 2421 and publish according to law.
Second,
I'll second.
roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Next up, ordinance 2422, an ordinance amending and supplementing ordinance 2343 entitled an ordinance amending the revised general ordinances of the Township of Ocean 1965 relating to personnel policies, practices, and procedures. Someone open up public discussion on ordinance 2422.
I'd like to make a motion to open public discussion on ordinance 2422.
Second,
I'll second that.
roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Anyone wishing to be heard on ordinance 2422? Yes.
I just want you to explain it a little more to us. Can you outline
Go
what it
ahead,
is?
David.
This applies to the employment's continuing education procedure. What we have found in the township is that employees, the township would spend dollars on employees getting CDLs, licenses, and such, and then soon thereafter they would move to another town.
With their license.
Exactly. So
Okay.
now we're asking them to stay for a certain period of time, and if they don't stay within that certain period of time, they would have to reimburse the township.
Oh, okay, that's clear. Thank you.
It's an excellent practice that we're going to put in place here because people tend to do that all over the place. Anyone else wishing to be heard on ordinance 2422? Seeing here none, motion to close discussion on ordinance 2422.
I'd like to make a motion to close the public discussion on ordinance 2422.
Second,
I'll second.
roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Action on ordinance 2422.
I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance 2422 and publish according to law.
Second,
I second.
roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Motion passes. Ordinance passes. Next up, public comment from anybody wishing to be heard, wishing to say anything in regard to Ocean Township, anything germane to the Township of Ocean. Please step up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
Bring it to Paul. Paul has a
Paul, you need the, you want the mic?
You okay? Oh.
Paul, I'll get,
We can get...
that's his physical therapy.
I'm guessing you're supposed to be walking, right? To get the hip in.
Supposed to be.
Yeah.
I didn't move fast enough on ordinance 2021, but when I read it the first time, we included commercial properties. And the first thing I thought of for a rehabilitation program for commercial properties was convention hall, the Paramount, and the casino. Those have been rehabilitated year after year after year, and Asbury isn't getting anywhere with it. So I think you ought to take a look at the ordinance one more time to make sure that we don't have that happen to a commercial property within Ocean Township.
Thank you, Paul. We're definitely looking into the Highway 35 corridor.
Okay, I do have a second question, but I don't know how your thingamajig works, Rob.
You get 5 minutes. Ask away, Paul. Knock your socks off.
Okay. I looked at the municipal tax rate for the last 9 to 10 years, and if I took the data correctly from Monmouth County, the municipal tax rate has gone down 30%.
Over.
Went from 0.47 to 0.36. I then looked at the Board of Enrollment, at the Board of Education Enrollment, for the same period of time, enrollment's gone down 20%. Yet, there's been a tax increase for the school rate of 27%. And they just currently, when I spoke to the business administrator, oh, our enrollment's really gonna go up. Well, that's going up because they've added preschool, not because of the base rate, base enrollment, or the housing stock increasing and getting people. And I just wanted to mention that because I think too many people look at the council, at what they do, and they completely forget that the Board of Education is a completely different entity. And even though the council is trying to work with them on shared services are just a very small piece of their budget. And I don't know how to resolve that issue because they pit parents against seniors, and they pit parents against empty nesters when anybody talks about trying to reduce the taxes for the school board. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Anyone wishing to be heard? Yes, sir.
No, I may be talking about you. Can I give her a chance to reply? John Huss, 175 Old Orchard Lane, Ocean. My question, I can't, every once in a while I hear the name the Welts track, Sam Welts. You know, Sam was a dear friend of mine. And when we put that together, you know, a couple of people on council wanted the township to buy that property, $660,000, I still remember the number. And I knew the county was interested in some land east of Highway 35, and we put with Jim, I can't remember his last name, in Monmouth County. We decided that, you know, that was the better way to go, was to let the county take it. But Sam insisted that no matter what, nothing will be done with that. It'll stay the way it is. No trails, no nothing. If people want to take a walk, they can walk whenever they want. They can park and go there. But is that the case today? Because I keep hearing about we're going to do this in the Welts track.
The only thing that's being done in the Welts track is a dog park. Nothing's being built other than a fence in an open space that's next to the tennis courts.
Sam Welts said nothing to be built.
Well, the county commissioners approved it, so I don't...
County commissioners may not know the conservation program that purchased that property, that helped purchase that property. And they better read the conservation stipulations that were very clear in that. You know, when Tommy, I know he comes, you guys know him better than I do.
I'll give him a call tomorrow.
You know, but you tell him to read it carefully.
Yep.
And the other thing I have, just tonight on television, 2 school buses just pulled into Suffolk County, loaded with migrants. Right? Now, they're going to start coming into New Jersey. What are you thinking about any problems? You know, and what would happen if all of a sudden they come rolling down 35 or the Route 18, you know, and stop in Ocean Township? What are you going to do?
John, this is the first I'm hearing of it.
Well,
so we will...
It's happening, you know, and they're going to tell you that it's not happening, but it is happening.
Yeah.
You know, it's incredible. Right.
John, we will definitely, we'll talk to the manager about that as well as the chief of police.
Steve, I still have green? All right, never mind.
Jackie, go ahead.
Sure. Hold on, Jackie.
There's no one in the room. Why are you worried about the 5-minute rule?
Because that's the policy.
But that was the policy when we had a planning board room, a high school filled with 200 people.
No, it's a policy for the council.
You're using your 5 minutes.
I know, they're being well used, because people don't like the 5-minute thing, especially when they have something on their mind. It's not like there's a room full of people waiting, so it's just not very courteous. Anyway, so I wanted to ask a couple questions. When Dave Fisher, I understand he's in charge of the master plan, or he's working on the new master plan. Is it something you're all working on and he's just leading it?
Okay, next question.
He's a council liaison to that master plan.
Okay, so.
Yeah, let's get the questions out and then we'll answer them. Go ahead, Jack. Yep. Next.
Because can we, when you're doing the process of the master plan, can there be more community input on that?
There will be a component.
Hold on, we're going to get all the questions out
sorry.
first. More community involvement. Go ahead.
I'm on cold medicine. I'm like.
Go ahead, Jackie. Next question.
The next question is the budget. Like I said, we used to have, he would go down with every budget item, because when we talked about taxes, often, we kept thinking it was property value, but we learned during the campaign that there were other expenses, other things that, paying off lawsuits, buying properties, different things that are in our budget that we're paying taxes on, and yet as tax-paying residents, we have absolutely no say in it. We don't know what's happening, but it's really very personally hitting people's pocketbooks right now. And I was wondering, in terms of taxation, is there a book or somewhere where I could look up, or you could all look since it's your job, not really my job now, in terms of are all of our properties being, like this idea of taxing an entire street because $2 million home is there now, raising it all, that everyone now has to scramble and figure this out. The people are not, they're feeling like we are pushing them now. They said, we feel like when neighborhoods all of a sudden, and this isn't racially driven, this is, that type of thing happens in racially driven situations where a group of people feel like they've been priced out and basically forced to move. Many of the residents in town are starting to feel like that, and this is with, like I started to say earlier, young families, not seniors who may be saying, well, maybe a nursing home would be okay. This is young families that you all heard this, you've been campaigning, these little tender stories that you hear along the trail. And one really got to me, and it was this really sweet family. They have an adorable house in the West Allenhurst area. And they said that their children are losing all their friends because the kids' parents can't afford to live in Ocean anymore. So I would like to maybe suggest that there are certain neighborhoods in our township that we protect from that type of gigantic raise.
How?
Don't allow it to become out of balance, because in the master plan, the 1991, which you're updating now, it does prevent us from that. It says design and develop within the character of that street, of that neighborhood, of adjoining neighborhoods. And if you're changing that now, just to raise everyone's taxes, to move in all new wealthy people and get rid of the middle class that live here, it doesn't seem fair. I mean, I would think that people that have squatters' rights, that have lived here and raised their children here, or trying to raise their children here, and would like to live here, to feel that they're being pushed out because new money is coming in and want to buy 2 lots instead of 1 and put a house up, that now has caused a situation that everybody has to find a new place to live, just doesn't seem right. Can you understand that?
I understand it. I've seen it. It's happening in my neighborhood. I just, as a council.
Why do we have to raise the taxes because someone across the street built a bigger house?
So as a town council, we control the tax rate and the budget. What we've done is lowered the tax rate every year that we've been on council. So we can control what we can control, but there's certain things that we can't control. Like home values, assessments, that's something we can't control. That's based on who's bought at what value.
It is each individual home, and the law requires that a property be assessed for its fair value. Typically, when somebody complains, the first question I ask, and Matt asks, is, well, is your house worth that much? And almost every time they say, well, I can get more for my house. It's based on the fair market value of the house. When the fair market values in the neighborhood go up throughout Ocean Township, that's when the rate comes down to, because the money's being raised for taxes for the municipality remain relatively constant with slight increases, but the rate goes down when the values go up, and that's why you find that a third of the houses, the taxes go up, a third they stay the same, and a third they go down. You don't hear from the people when the taxes go down.
But how much, no, we didn't, so maybe, could you tell us what part of town did the taxes go down? So maybe they don't have to leave Ocean Township, their kids can still go to the same school, they'll just settle in the side of town where taxes went down?
Mhm.
I mean, it just
Sure, that's.
So
take a look.
let me respond to the points that you brought up because the time's up. The first thing is the master plan. That is being done through the planning board. So David Fisher is our liaison from the council that sits on those planning board meetings. We also have a mayor's designee that sits there as well. As for more community involvement, you can attend the planning board meetings. The book of properties with all the properties in it. You can go online and see exactly what everybody's property taxes are. You can look it up on the county tax map. And one area in town for no increases in your property taxes, that's impossible. The last issue that you brought up about having people potentially move into another area of the Township of Ocean, I've heard from multiple people. I used to live on the east side. I'm now on the west side. I chose to pick up and move. That was my choice. Not everybody wants to move west of 35. So the unfortunate thing is you've got people that are basically looking at their homes as a winning lottery ticket. I cannot control, and Dr. Donlin, Deputy Mayor Donlin, brought it up. We don't have any control over what people do when they sell their homes. Therefore, the property values are increasing, and like we've said, 33% of the homes go up, 33% go down, 33% stay the same. So as it stands, we've been in this county program, this county assessment program, since 2013. So there's really nothing we can do about it. 20% of the properties are reassessed each year.
So this is a new thing that we're involved in?
It's not a new thing.
We have spoken about this for years. It's a county program that we've been in since 2013. We've
A
gone
law.
over this over and over and over again.
At every meeting, over and over.
But we have brought it up many times. It's a very well-known fact.
Maybe it's not working.
And well, and
For the majority.
I
But it's a
believe,
law. We
and
can't-
I believe
Our law.
Mr. Meyerowitz brought it up about the school tax. We are approximately 23% of the budget. The Board of Ed is 67%. We have maintained a stable or lower tax rate each and every year that we've been up here. We have watched the spending. We provide an incredible amount of services for the amount of money that we have for the municipality. We provide your garbage pickup, your police service. We pave your roads. We clean the streets. We do snow removal. There's a lot that we do with the budget.
But you did that always.
Yes, we did. And Jackie, one other thing that we don't have any control over. Healthcare costs went up by $560,000. We have people that are entitled to raises, and we also have equipment that needs to be upgraded. And you walk the park, you know that we are constantly updating and upgrading all of our facilities. That's our job. And we are maintaining that with a very, very stable budget. As a matter of fact, there was a gentleman that was honored the other evening who has a piece of property here that does business in many, many towns throughout the state of New Jersey. And he specifically said there are two municipalities that he feels are the two best run municipalities, Tinton Falls and Ocean Township. And that comes from somebody who's with a very, very large company. Thank you.
I just want to add a couple things for your young families who are in Ocean Township and for the seniors. There are two programs at the state that offer rebates or tax freezes. For seniors, it's called the Tax Freeze Program. That application is still open, and the deadline is for October 31st, 2023. So if you're a senior and you meet the criteria, I encourage you to go online to apply for that. And then there's the Anchor program, which the deadline had just recently passed. But the Anchor program income limit had been expanded to include middle income families up to, I think, $2,200, around $200,000 income per family. So that applied, and there were significant rebates from the state.
Can they reapply, saying it's?
Let me see the next one. It's a yearly program. So the deadline for this past time just ended probably a month ago. I've lost, I think it was about a month ago. Let me see if they can reapply.
So would the township consider hosting a meeting and putting an announcement out there there for people that are having issues with their taxes, some type of forum where they can be educated and you can hear their stories. You know, I ran on the people's voice, and you know, I congratulate you all for your run and your reelection. I'm not sitting there with you, but I can still be the people's voice. People call me, people email me. Sometimes they're busy. They are busy home with their kids. I don't have any children, so I have the time to come and speak for them. So I'm asking for them. If there's some kind of forum that we could have where people that are feeling stressed by that, so they could better understand the law. If it's not an Ocean Township law, but it's a state law or a national law regarding the taxes, so they could better understand it, because they're just feeling like there's something going on that doesn't feel right. And I think if there was more transparency, that word came up often in during the campaign, that it would just be nice, that it felt friendlier. Like I feel when I talk, Mr. Mayor, you seem angry when you're talking to me. I feel that. It's a sensitivity. You know, I don't feel, you seem angry and annoyed, and the idea of the 5-minute clock feels like you have no time for us. And like I said, the room is empty.
Jackie, it's not an anger issue. I think that the issue is that it's a constant attack on the council. It's, Jackie, I get that, and it's a constant attack on the council. We have explained a lot of this over and over again. It has been explained. Jack, I'm not going to get into a back and forth right now about that. We've got all right, 5 minutes is up. I don't want to get into an argument right now. Thank you for your comments. Any? Yes.
I got 2 minutes left. I just went to my first council meeting 45 years ago. Holy mackerel, this is crazy. You know, it's what you're saying is so obvious. You know, sometimes you look at ego exceeds intelligence. You know, and that's basically what I'm looking at. And then, meanwhile, I went over my tax rate. I find there's a couple $100,000 worth of payment made to defend this lawsuit that was so irresponsible, it was ridiculous. There was no way. And I want to know, how do I get that $280,000 in law fees back to the people of the Township of Ocean? That's all. There's got to be a way. Find it.
Thank you.
What are you talking about?
Your law.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
There've been a lot of lawsuits.
Motion to adjourn.
Second? Oh, Paul, you coming back up?
Yeah. Oh, this is his first time on.
First time on the 5.
Got it. Hold on, Paul. Take your time.
Jackie mentioned something that reminded me of what we did when I lived in Jackson Township. We created a citizen budget advisory committee for the Board of Education. Now, it's my understanding that the council or representative of council is having a working meeting with the Board of Ed. When the discussion was first brought up, the members of the Board of Ed argued it should only be parents. We know where that would end up. We need the council's help in having a citizens budget advisory committee made up of parents, empty nesters, single people, and seniors. And given the state of the Board of Ed, I'm not sure they're going to do it, even though last year they promised they would. The other thing is the tax freeze and anchor program. That seems to have been perhaps a wonderful thing that the senior center could have offered to everybody. And we publicized so that people would meet the deadline dates for it. I know I don't qualify for the tax freeze, but I had no idea the anchor program had changed. And I don't know if I would have qualified, but I sure would have liked to have seen an announcement on it. And in terms of the tax presentation, again in Jackson, I was involved in doing a property assessment for some of the senior communities. And the mayor recognized that it made sense to have such a presentation. I was invited with the tax assessor and the mayor to give a presentation to tell people how they could reduce their property taxes. Not everybody could, and it was still the same then, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but that's something we might want to
Yeah.
consider for the future.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Paul, that's a great idea. Thank you. And Jackie, thank you for that idea on the taxes. I think in discussing this with the seniors and going into the communities and stuff, that's a great idea to talk about the anchor program and the other tax benefits that they could have for property tax relief. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to be heard?
Indeed, Mr. Mayor, just to give Jackie an answer, so on the, you and any of the residents can call the tax assessor to get an explanation before any programs that we put together. You can get Bill Laird at our main number, 732-531-5000, and he's at extension 3345.
Thanks, Rob. Motion to adjourn. Motion, second. Second.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Napolitani?
Motion passes. Thank you. Have a great evening.